Hi everybody, welcome to the dungeon. My name is Robin and today is Flameworking just for fun. A couple weeks ago I was looking for a new tool, something that I could press into the glass with. And instead of looking online for something that may or may not even exist and something that might be really expensive, I thought it would be good to look around the house first. I always tend to gravitate towards the kitchen because it has the most amount of stainless steel objects. So, yeah, I'm looking around searching in drawers and I found some utensils that I was going to give to Goodwill. And the spoon really caught my eye. It just had the perfect curve to it. So, what I decided to do was have Patrick modify the spoon for me and use that as a press. So before we get started, I'm going to show you how Patrick made this tool, and then we'll get right into making the bead. On that note, I hope you're all doing safe and well out there. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time in the dungeon. Okay, so we're going to start out by making the tool, and Patrick right now is just cutting the bowl of the spoon in half using a cutoff wheel. You can use a saw or a hand saw, anything that that works. And once the spoon is cut in half, he'll go ahead and just smooth and sand any kind of burrs down on the edge. You just want to make sure that the tool is nice and smooth before you use it. And he's going to get the edges there, and that's it. Very easy, simple to make this tool. And there is our cut off spoon. And I'll use this at the end of the bead to get these really nice impressions. Okay, let's go ahead and start the bead out. This is very similar to, the color scheme here is very similar to my 101, the final demonstration. It's called Magical Endings, and it's a black with silver and then the double helix atlas on top. And this is just great. Every time I use this combination, it looks fabulous. So we're going to start out with the black. And anytime I'm winding my color on a mandrel like this, I want to make sure that the bead release itself is nice and hot. If it's on the cool side, when you add hot glass to it, it can gas off and form bubbles and in the glass, and you just want to make sure all those bubbles are popped if that happens to you. But in order to avoid that, just make sure your bead release is nice and hot before the glass goes on it. And I'm just going to spend a little bit of time rolling this out into a long barrel-shaped bead. And then I will roll up a little bit of silver foil on this. And I like to use the silver foil over the silver leaf. It's thicker, it's heavier, it's easier to handle, it's easier to cut. And here I'm using 1/2 of a sheet of silver. I do like to use a lot of silver on my beads. So I'm going to roll this up. And before I get it in the flame or anything, I want to make sure that the silver is completely burnished down on the bead. And so I'm using the back end of a butter knife to just smooth it all down with. And make sure you get your edges as well. And then I'll go ahead and just kind of hang out in the back of the flame with that while I'm heating up the atlas color. And I'm going to start swiping on this color, and I'm going to encase this whole bead. Of course, you guys know I love encasing. So I'm just going to start swiping this color on, and as always, I overlap as I go. If you have any silver that's showing up afterwards, make sure it's all covered up. And you notice I'm swiping this color on, and the action of swiping on this color gives it a striped effect. And I was kind of wondering after I did this how it would look if instead of swiping on the color, I just added dots. But that's for another demonstration. So let's continue here by just rolling this color out and smoothing it down all over, getting back into that barrel-shaped bead. Of course, I always like to work my edges in, and then I'll smooth out the center, Then maybe go back to the edges again, just getting everything where I like it. So always make sure you're happy before you move on. A little bit more heating and rolling here. And here is our color so far. I'm not going to do anything special to this. I'm not going to reduce it or anything. I'm just going to move on and see what happens. So on top of the color, I want to add 2 thick encasements of clear. And if you've seen my videos before, you know I love to use the Effetri Super Clear. And in this case, because I want a thick encasement, I'm using a big rod. It's an 8mm rod, and it just makes the whole process go by a little faster when I'm using a thicker rod of glass. So I always recommend to people to get a variety of clear glass in different sizes, you know, so you don't have to continuously pull out stringers or anything. You want all the sizes of clear. All right, now we're just going to roll all of this out again, get back into a nice shape so we can encase it one more time. I always do my edges, and here I'm just going to use a butter knife to kind of push that clear glass closer to the mandrel on both edges. And I just get that shape that I'm looking for, and I do want to match the other side to the front side, so I'll shape both of those up a little bit and give it a little reheat, a little roll, and we will encase it one more time. Now the second encasement is, you know, you don't have to be as exact and precise as the first encasement. I'm just going from one edge to another. Right where the glass starts to curve to the mandrel, that's where I'll stop. All right, now once I have this clear on here, I will go ahead and get into my final shape. So before I can do that though, I need to melt everything in and make sure it's right where I want it to be. I want to smooth all of this clear glass out, and I want to do my best to make sure that this clear glass is evenly spread out on top of the color. So when I go to press it out, the clear glass will press out evenly as well around the color. So that's why this little part here is important, to just get all the clear right where I want it to be. Okay, I'm just about ready to press this down. I want to heat it up a little bit more. And there's a couple different tools that I could use to press with. I have this one tool called the tabulator, but I think I want to just use a graphite paddle to press this down with. So when I'm ready, I will come down and give it roll it for just a few seconds and get it where I want it. And then I'll go ahead and give it a press. And then I will flip it over and press down one more time. I just want to feel that both sides are the same width when I'm done. And if I feel like maybe I need to press it one more time, I'll give it a quick heat and give it one more press. Either way, again, I'm looking for a nice even flatness all over. And then once I have that, I have my spoon ready. But before I use the spoon, I want to make sure that both sides are nice and smooth and completely fire polished, so there's no chill marks in your glass. Okay, it's time to use the spoon. This is exciting, you guys. I love using new tools. And pressing the spoon into the glass was so satisfying. The handle worked out great. Every time I made this press, it was a very even press each time. I think I went a little deep on some of these, but it just made a beautiful curved line, exactly what I was looking for. So I'm going to continue to heat and press this pattern in a few more times. And it does kind of move and shift the glass as well as the silver foil underneath. So you'll see that in the light later on. Okay, I'll let that cool down for a second, and then I'm going to start heating up the opposite side and insert that same pattern. So heating back and forth lengthwise, and then just cutting in on the edge. Now I'm just going to work my way across the bead with the spoon. I made a couple of these, and I just kind of played around with the spoon several times. If you don't have the double helix color, this whole process can look amazing with just one single color with clear on top. And after you have made these impressions, it kind of gives you a lot of shadow play and light play. So this is just such a cool design. I'm so excited to share. All right, here we have it so far. Now let's go ahead and cut across those to make some kind of diamond patterned. It kind of reminds me of a pineapple pattern. So we're going to go ahead and just start cutting into that across. And you can already see how the pattern's going to come out and how the light is already playing with this pattern. A few more times on this side. All right, that is just looking amazing to me. So let me add a little bit more here on the end, and then I can go ahead and start finishing up the other side. I have to say, I almost left it like this just to give a different look, but the pattern, I just had to keep that pattern going. So I go ahead and follow the same pattern as I did, and just heating and shaping. Now, I did lose some of my lines here, but if I was making more of these, I would make sure that I go in and maybe press into these twice at the end, just to make sure that each line is visible and nice and crisp in the glass. All right, we got a few more to go and we will be done with this piece. I just think it looked fabulous, and I'm so glad that I'm able to share some new tools with you guys. So on that note, I'm just going to give this a quick heat and put it away. Now on that note, I hope you all enjoy this one. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you all next time in the dungeon.